if we ever get back to wrestling, be able to. I know it. So did I. It was great having them Video's ready. Everybody's ready. All right, let's get this going. 5 o'clock. Welcome to the candidate forum from Crosby Mayor and Crosby City Council. And we'd like to thank you guys all for coming. I'm going to introduce you guys here. And we'll start with, they're in order as A, B, C, D. A is Joanna Lattery. B is Rick Ferrari. C is Jim Hunter. And D is Sierra McLean.
Good evening, everyone.
Today's forum is a collaboration between the Cayuna Lakes Chamber of Commerce and the League of Women Voters Brainerd Lakes. Thank you to the volunteers, also from Central Lakes College, the videography class, and the American Association of University Women. And of course, to the Hella Community Center for making this event possible tonight. Before we begin, there's a few things I'd like to cover. Please remain as quiet as possible while the candidates are speaking so that everybody here and at home may hear, and please hold your applause until the forum has ended so the candidates will have all the time possible for getting their points across. Please turn off your cell phones too. No photography or recording is allowed during the forum. Today's event will be live streamed on YouTube and Facebook and will be available for viewing from now until Election Day on Cayuna Lakes Chamber's website. It's also being broadcast tonight on R&J Broadcasting Skeeter 101.5. The views expressed at the forum are those of the candidates, not those of the sponsors of the forum. None of today's sponsors will be endorsing any of the candidates. All candidates were invited. You're welcome to submit written questions for the candidates either on note cards provided or through the chat option. Questions that are unclear, hostile, or of a personal nature will not be used. We reserve the right to screen the questions and may consolidate questions to cover as many topics as possible. If you don't get a chance to submit a question, you can meet up with the candidates afterwards and talk to them out in the hallway area. As a voice of business for the Cayuna Lakes, the Chamber of Commerce is a 501c3, 50c6 business nonprofit. And we are about ready to start. Are you guys all ready? Yeah. Okay. All right, we're going to get 2 minutes apiece for an opening statement. And we are going to start with candidate D for that. I have the list here where we are starting. So we will start with candidate D, Sierra McLean. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Tom. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sierra McLean, as Tom has previously stated. I have been a resident of Crosby, Minnesota for 15 years. Married to a Cayuna firefighter for 17 years. And I believe that my platform is faith, family, and community. I'm very active with our young community, and I believe that it is our young community that we need to reach out to right now in order to maintain our community as it is now and preserve it going forward. I also believe that there is a lacking quality as far as reaching out to our younger community right now that we haven't embraced, and I do believe that it needs to be embraced before we lose their commitment to us. We need to be able to establish things that bring them back, because as things go, we have an aging community, and that's fantastic, but we need to bring our youth back and get our youth involved so that they do come back to us and help us maintain this community when those of us who have put the time in decide to retire. I also believe that through business, we can establish better business relationships within our community. I also believe that our community, our business community, will thrive with our youth being brought into it.
Thank you. Yes, and if you candidates watch the table right here, they will hold up some times remaining with your questions. So the opening statements are 2 minutes apiece. And we're going to move over to candidate A for the next opening statement. That'll be Joanna Lattery. 2 minutes.
Thanks, Tom. My name is Joanna Lattery, as Tom said. I've lived in the community for over 15 years. I am married to my husband of 52 years. We have 4 children, 10 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren. And I am currently economy administrator for our company and also a realtor. Some of the things that I see that are important are getting back to our residents and our businesses. I think too much has been done with the special interest group. While I agree that recreational and tourist are very important to our city to keep us going, but we wouldn't have a city if it wasn't for our residents and our businesses. I think that I feel that we need to keep a better track of our spending. There has to be more accountability. There has to be more of a communication with our businesses and with our residents, and really listen to what they're saying, because I don't believe that has been done for a while. And I think that's very, very important. And while I agree with Sierra to get our youth involved, yes, because if we don't have our youth, we're going to die. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Move over to candidate B, Rick Ferrari. Mr. Ferrari, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Hello and good evening, everybody. My name is Rick Ferrari. My wife of 34 years and myself have been in this community all our lives. We have 5 children, 8 grandchildren. I am third generation business in this town. I retired from my business in 2015 after 35 years. I am past mayor in this town in the years 2011 and 2012. My renewed interest in being mayor is because of the times that we're in right now. Never in history has government shut the economy down. This will impact Crosby City's budget and therefore your property taxes. About half of the money that Crosby spends each year comes from LGA funds. That's local government aid. Last month, the Minnesota League of Cities sent out a memo to the cities telling them prepare for shortcomings in LGA funds as early as this year. Their state revenue funds that they're looking at is short billions of dollars for years to come. We have a lot of good people in this town. I'd like to help. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and the Chamber of Commerce, Cayuna. Thank you for these debates.
Thank you. We'll finish with opening statements with candidate D. That is Mr. Jim Hunter. Go ahead.
Well, good evening. It's kind of a pleasure sitting up here because in today's times, we have very challenging times. I believe that the voters of this community need to centralize on that and build a strong leadership in our council. It's not going to be easy in the next few years. And if you want to talk about background, I have a long background. But I'm not concerned about my background. I'm concerned about the city of Crosby in the future. We do have to curb spending, but on the other hand, we have to unite. The council has to unite, and we have to sit down and do what when you're elected to an office, you need to earn that money that your taxpayers are paying you to do that job. That's not just going to 1 or 2 meetings a month. That's an everyday challenge that you have to go through the whole process in order to make a council united and do the best for the community. There are people in this community that can't afford more taxes. They can't afford more assessments. They've lived here for 30, 40 years. And in that time, they've only accumulated so much money in order to survive. And I think it's the council's responsibility to step up to the plate and work for the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, now the questions I ask, you'll have 90 seconds, a minute and a half per question, okay? That understood? And again, watch the timekeepers. We start with candidate A. Ms. Lattery, you'll get the first question. And you're all going to get the same question, but we'll start with, on this end with A. First question is, what do you see as your role as a mayor?
Doing the research, leading the council, listening to the residents, financially being responsible and keeping an eye on that, talking with the businesses. I'm not going to micromanage. I think we have good people in place, but yet it takes the whole council to make a decision. I can't promise I'm going to do something if I don't have the backing of the council, so I will never do that. And I think it's very, very important to understand that one person does not make the decisions.
Okay, thank you. We go to candidate B, same question. What do you see as your role as mayor of Crosby?
Well, the mayor's role is to conduct a meeting, control the flow of information, try to keep everything above the table in front of everybody, at times slow it down. Maybe we need more information. Sometimes I see that as a problem. Some decisions are made too quick. You need to slow it down, maybe wait. Not too much has to be done every meeting. Most of the stuff can wait for a meeting or two. Let's make sure we make our decisions based on good information. Okay, and I guess it's my responsibility to make sure that happens.
Thank you. 90 seconds to Mr. Hunter. Same question. What do you see as your role as mayor of Crosby?
Well, I feel that my role as mayor of Crosby is to unite the community. It's also to unite the council. It's to make sure that we have the proper information when we need it to make a decision. I agree with the other candidates that we make decisions too fast, too quick, and we don't have enough information. But on the other hand, I blame that on the council. They have the ability to research things that need to be researched. And so when they come to that meeting, they need to come to the meeting prepared, not just come to the meeting to be there. Do I think it's my responsibility to do that? I think it is. I think that we have good leaders in our community that work hard, but we still need to govern and make sure that we understand exactly what we're doing when we do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to you, Ms. McLean. What do you see as your role as mayor of Crosby?
As mayor, I agree with what the other candidate said. It is the responsibility of the mayor to make sure to guide the council, make sure that the proper questions are asked, and ensure that if the proper questions haven't been asked, that we can ascertain what questions need to be asked. Now, while that's all done sitting in the town hall, there's more to being mayor than just that. As mayor, you have to establish and reach out to the community, ensure what the community actually needs, because most times, people aren't going to come to us. People aren't going to come and sit in the meeting and tell us what's wrong. I believe it's the mayor's responsibility to touch base with the people within the community, to touch base with our ISD 182 school district, to touch base with the Hallett Community Center, the police department, all of our local businesses, and even the youth within our town. This is the only way that we can ensure that we are meeting all the needs of everybody within our community, because the community isn't based on one group of people. It is not just businesses, it is not just children, and it is not just taxpayers. It is everybody.
Thank you. Again, the questions were pre-prepared, and if anybody in the audience has a question they want to ask, please submit it to the women over there, part of the Women's League of Voters. Next question, we'll start with candidate B, Rick Ferrari. What steps do you plan to ensure transparency in the city government?
Oh, that's a good one. Right now, you can't see much what's going on in there. So much more should be on the website. All the budgets, all the financial stuff should be on the website, and history of it. That's got to be done, okay? You just don't know what's going on. Every year's financial stuff should be on there going back for a ways. I think the minutes should be better, more substance in the minutes. When you look back, you can understand why decisions were made a little bit. I asked at the last council meeting that they get it streamed. Okay, I think that's very important. We have a responsibility to the people that own that place to show them everything. You go to the council meeting, all the information that the council's looking at should be available to everybody. Right now, it's not. There's a lot that can be done. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to the right. Candidate C, Mr. Hunter, same question. What steps do you plan to ensure transparency in city government?
Well, I believe that transparency has to come from communication. And part of that communication is working with team leaders. I think that you have to have more than just a council meeting. I think you have to have involvement completely in your community. I think Rick is right. We need transparency so everybody knows what's going on at the meetings. I actually think that the mayor should have kind of an open forum once in a while to let people know exactly what the council's working on, or what our community is going to do, or what's going to happen. We've had so many things happen in the city of Crosby that has cost thousands of dollars because we were misinformed. We didn't study it. We didn't look at it. And part of that transparency has to be communicating with each and every one of your council members and each and every one of the people who have been in this community. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go over to candidate D. Same question to Ms. McLean. What steps do you plan to ensure transparency in the city government?
That's actually a really good question. When I decided to put my candidacy in for mayor, I reached out to Matthew, who is the new administrator here in Crosby, and I actually asked him for the last 5 years worth of proposed budgets versus actual budgets so that I could see where we were at as far as our decision making and where we might be lacking, where we might be over. And he actually gave those budgets to me within 24 hours of me asking, which means that the transparency, I believe it's there. We just have to reach it. We have to be able to ensure that our community knows that we don't mind giving that information out. We actually want you to have that information. But again, our community has to be prepared to ask for it as well. I believe that being live streamed would be a great opportunity for this council, and it's something that we should have. Being able to go back and get the financials online, that would be fantastic as well. I don't believe that there's going to be a problem in doing it. I believe that we just need to ask and put it forth to the council to get it done. If there are other things that people want to see as far as transparency goes, I would ask the community to put those requests forward, because they're not going to be overlooked.
Got to stop you, thank you. We'll ask the same question to Ms. Lattery. What steps do you plan to ensure transparency in city government?
Well, I agree with the other candidate. The live streaming is almost necessary nowadays. But I do think we have that consent agenda on there now. Everything is pushed through really quick, and I think we need to discuss what's going on. I think all things that come up in front of the council needs to be discussed, because I'm finding that even some of the council doesn't know. So I think that the residents asking the questions, the business people asking the questions, get involved. Ask your questions. There's no, somebody said to me, well, I don't want to sound stupid. There is no stupid question. If it's important to you, it's important to me. If it's important to the community, it's important to me. And so it's very, very important again, but it's very important to speak up and ask your questions and call. My telephone number is on everything that I have, so give me a call, you stop by my house. I don't care. I'm the same with all the council members.
Thank you. Oh, thanks. I didn't cut you off, did I?
No.
Okay, thank you. Question number 3, we'll start with candidate C, Mr. Hunter. What are your plans for the police department?
Well, that's a tough question. You know, we've got a good police department, and we need to be present in our community. Do I think that we have room for improvement? Yes, I do. It's costing us a lot of money. For one thing, we have these vehicles go back and forth home every day. We have officers that live in medication. I understand response time. I also understand we have a community of police departments that are in Deerwood, the sheriff's office, and do I believe that these officers should be protected? No, I don't. I believe that they need protection, and we need it for the community. Our police department's going to have to grow. Now, with the rest of the community, I want to make sure that that's taken care of. I mean, we just can't let things run wild.
Thank you. Thank you. Move over to candidate D. Same question. What are your plans for the police department?
First of all, I want to say good job to the police department. Within the last 2 weeks, we had 2 young ladies go missing and come back within 24 to 48 hours. And it was handled very well. I want to give Andy a big thank you. He was very involved in it. The one thing, though, that I can say is that I believe that our officers may need to be trained on how to reach out to the county and work with different services within our county so that they know who to contact when something like this does arise. Because it doesn't happen all of the time, But to have the connections that they need, I believe, is very important. And in order to establish those connections, they do have to have the training made available to them. I also believe that our police department does need to grow. We are a growing community. Our community is growing in leaps and bounds because of tourism, because of new business coming in. And with that, there's potential that we're going to have more not riots, but more disruptions within our community and in the flow of our community. And I believe that our police officers should be trained and have the capacity to meet those needs.
Thank you. Come down to candidate A, Ms. Lattery, same question. What are your plans for the police department?
I can't say that I have plans for it. The only thing I can say is that I'm very proud of our police department. I give them kudos for, as Sierra said, with how they reacted in the last 2 weeks. I think that I would like to see them get out more into the community. You drive by, you see some kids out playing ball, get out, talk to them, make your presence more seen, and talk to individuals that are in the city, to our residents, and to people who are visiting here. I think that having a new chief, he's just learning the feel of the community and the feel of the office, and I think he's done an awesome job. But I do think there needs to be more one-on-one input with the residents.
Thank you. Over to candidate B, Mr. Ferrari. Same question. What are your plans for the police department?
That is a question that without a nice conversation with the chief to understand how he sees what's going on, I would hate to pass judgment. I don't see major problems right now. Always things to be worked on. But I think some of my thoughts, I'd like to hear from him and see how he feels about it before I comment on something like that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll keep moving on here. We go to candidate D, Ms. McLean. You will start the next question, and that is, what would you like the city to accomplish in the next 2 years?
That's a tough question. There's a lot that's going to go on in the next 2 years. The road through Main Street, it's going to be torn up in the next, I would say, 10 months, and we're going to have a detour through downtown, which means that our businesses downtown, they're going to get a punch in their bottom line. It's something that they're going to have to prepare for, and I would love to see this council, I would love to see this city help those businesses maintain by preparing for it now. There's going to be detours down the roads. I would like to see that our roads are maintained, kept up, because with the increased traffic down roads that were not designed to have such heavy flows of traffic, we're going to need to keep that in mind, prepare for it, raise the funds to ensure that it's taken care of, especially as Mr. Ferrari said earlier, all of the funds that we get, what did he call them? The LGA funds are going to be minimal. So these are things that we have to prepare for because we have to provide the money for it. I would also like to see us get more involved with our youth community. I would love to see a youth council created that is mentored by our city council and designate them to have youth interests brought to the council.
Thank you. Move over here to candidate A. Ms. Lattery, same question. What would you like the city to accomplish in the next 2 years?
A better budget, better street maintenance, better community competition, new businesses coming, but coming in correctly. Not going by promises of people on the council when they don't know whether or not it really is going to be improved. I would like to see the city and the council and the mayors realize they are one voice. They have to combine it to agree to something. They cannot say, well, the mayor said or the council member said we could do it. I think it has to be a unanimous decision.
Thank you. Moving to candidate B, Mr. Ferrari. What would you like the city to accomplish in the next 2 years?
Well, I think the focus is going to be on the budget. Crosby is the highest taxed town in Crow Wing County. The city tax is at 114%. The average tax in Crow Wing County on a town is 54%. We are more than twice the average of towns in Crow Wing County. If we were to lose that LGA, and we're going to get cut, I know that's for sure, but if we lose it all, people would run from this place if we tried to maintain the budget. It would just explode, okay? And we have to be, we're going to have to watch that really close, really close. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll finish this question with candidate C, Mr. Hunter. What would you like the city to accomplish in the next 2 years?
Well, within the next 2 years, we're going to have probably massive growth in the community. And I think that we need to prepare for that. As far as spending money, we can't spend any more money. We don't even have the 3rd Street project paid for yet. And we're doing remodeling on Main Street. We got a community center here that the average community center takes approximately $60,000 to $80,000 a year from the community to operate that, because it doesn't have enough cash flow to sustain itself. We need to prepare for the bike industry. We need to have maps. We need to have control of where they're going to go and what they're going to do. And we need to know that as a community. We're going to have some real hard times. And if people think that we're not, they're very mistaken. Because everything is going up, prices are going up, and we need to prepare for that in the future.
Thank you. We'll move back over to candidate A to start the next question. And I think you've all mentioned the road construction. How do you plan to support the businesses and residents during the upcoming road construction project? We'll start with you, Ms. Lattery.
In 2013, when I was mayor, from 2013 to 2006 through 16, we started in a Crosby Economic Development Group. From there, when we found out that the road was going to be done, at that time it was going to be done in 18, we started a Highway 210 Reconstruction Committee, looking at what we could do. We met with businesses, we talked to them. It was a little early to start planning, but you never can plan ahead too early, I don't believe. I think what we need to do is we need to look at the alleys behind the businesses. We have to take the front loader or whatever in there to grade it down, the grader to grade it down. I think we need to help the businesses to have a back door entrance into their businesses. Some of them do, but some of them, I don't know if they would pass on being the right width, etc. But we've been talking about that for years, what we can do. And I think now it's getting so close to happening, we really need to push working with the businesses to figure out how we're going to get customers in their doors and how they are going to be able to handle it, plus getting their businesses ready for the shaking that's going to go on.
Thank you. To Mr. Ferrari, same question. How do you plan to support the businesses and residents during the upcoming road construction project?
Well, we lived through this once before, I believe it was '89. My family had retail business on Main Street, and I believe that was a bigger project because we had more infrastructure going on. The businesses will take care of itself. There's not much we can do to help the traffic flow. Probably some of the delivery trucks will have an issue because a lot of times they use the alleys right now, and that'll, have to be dealt with, for consumers that want to frequent businesses. But we've lived through it before, and we'll get through it. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Hunter, same question. How do you plan to support the businesses and residents during the upcoming, road construction project?
Well, the road construction project is a big project, and the state has already cut some of the things that they're going to do, especially down where I live. They're not going to put the new culverts and stuff in that need to be put in. And so what's going to happen, in my way of thinking, I think there's been a little bit too much talk and not enough action. I mean, we need to have some maps and stuff drawn up so people in the community even know which direction to go to get to a business. A lot of businesses don't have back doors. We should have been planning long before now, and we should have been looking at this and saying, how can we assist them, not money-wise, but a way to get the people to them. Most of our people, bike riders and stuff, they're going to go here and there and all over. But if they don't have a back door, these businesses are going to be hurting very bad. And I hate to say this, there was a lot of talk before, but there still hasn't been nothing done to plan for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McLean, same question. How do you plan to support the businesses and residents during the upcoming road construction project?
Well, I know that I did reach out to our administrator and actually ask the same question. I wanted to find out what the detour routes were for this project, and they don't know. They had directed me to go to the Minnesota Department of Transportation for that information, and I went online and looked there, and they did not have it. So I believe that it is paramount, absolutely paramount, that this is started now, not when the mayors are voted in and January 1st comes around. This is something that the council currently needs to be on top of. The businesses need to work with the county to ensure their business continuity and also to ensure that any access that they need is taken care of. As some of the other candidates have said, some of them don't have the accesses in the back of their establishments. Well, that needs to be addressed. Also, online presence. Many of the businesses downtown, they don't have an online presence. And coaching them or bringing somebody in to show them how to create that online presence will help when push comes to shove and they are not getting the business in the door that they used to get in.
Thank you. We're starting to run out of time. How many of these questions you guys want to try to get through? Keep going? All right, we are going to take some of the questions from the audience, okay? We'll move to those. We got time for, okay, all right. Let's keep going. The audience came here, they have some questions. These are ones I'd really like to ask, that they were kind enough to come here. So we are going to start with Mr. Ferrari this round. And this question from the audience: what is your vision for possible shared services with surrounding Cuyuna Range cities?
Well, I do believe there may come a time, I think economics will dictate it, when these cities will desire, because of economics, to combine maybe police departments, fire departments, and this and that. Possibly I could see Crosby, Ironton being one town someday. I think it'd just be cost effective. And I think when times get tough, those doors will be open. Thank you.
Thank you. Move on to Mr. Hunter. Same question. What is your vision for possible shared services with surrounding Cuyuna Range cities?
Well, I think in the near future, it's gonna have to be looked at because of the expense that it costs to operate any entity. I think right now we have a mutual aid agreement, which everybody does work together, but I think we need to be more united. I think that it needs to be discussed, and not only discussed with Crosby, but with Ironton, Cuyuna, and Deerwood, and work together to build this whole Iron Range community to one focus is for the best of the people. And if we do that, we're probably sometime in the future going to have to merge together to pull all of your resources, because things are just getting too expensive nowadays. We don't, you don't go down to the store now and buy a $2 steak, you know? So we have to plan for that too. We have to realize how much it's going to cost us in the future to keep going and going and going in what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McLean, same question. What is your vision for possible shared services with surrounding Cuyuna Range cities?
I like the idea. That being said, this community, it has history, and moving to something like that, it's going to take a lot to get us there, which I am completely and totally for helping the process. That being said, we also have to understand that if we do something like this, that we are not going to be the ones governing that board. We're not going to be the ones governing that particular establishment. It'll have to be maintained by possibly the sheriff's department, another entity that sits above us. But we will have to work with all of the communities around us to make it successful.
Thank you. Ms. Slattery, same question. What is your vision for possible shared services with surrounding Cuyuna Range cities?
In the past, when I was mayor, the mayors of Ironton, Deerwood, Cuyuna, and Crosby met almost weekly there for a month, and then it was every 2 weeks. And we discussed combining our fire department, combining our police department, combined buying of sand, combined office supplies and stuff, because you can get such a better deal. And we had some really good discussions on that. And then the one big one that we were going to do was the police department, but we ran into so many snags that it was put aside. I would like to see us start that up again. I would like to see the mayor's meeting on a regular basis, discussing the shared cost of all kinds of things that both cities, all cities use. And so I'd like to see that brought back again. Cuyuna, Deerwood, and Ironton, and myself the 4th of July parade. So I would like to see us start working back together again.
Thank you. All right, we have time for one more. I'm going to go in the order that I got them from the audience. And we will start with Mr. Hunter on this one. How will you get young people involved in the community and ensure that they return following post-secondary education?
Well, education is a major part of any community. Right now, because of the COVID situation, we're struggling with that, I believe. We're having more and more people that are trying to homeschool, but it's tough on families that, that both work and it's really tough. The younger people, we have a youth center, I think that has great possibilities of growing more. But one thing that we need to do is we need to create jobs. The young people aren't going to stay there if there's not a job there. We can get them involved in the community, and we can get them involved in meetings and things like that to help them grow in their self-worth. But we need to run this community and find jobs and get them a reason to stay here. With no reason to stay here, they have to go someplace else in order to live, in order to make a living. So our education is a very, very important end of this community. And I think our school is doing a good job, but it's tough for that. Under this COVID situation, it's really tough. And that's about all I got.
Time's up. Thank you. Ms. McLean, same question. How will you get young people involved in the community and ensure that they return following post-secondary education?
I believe working with young people is a necessity. As Mr. Hunter said, COVID has come. It has wreaked havoc on everybody. As far as jobs go, most of our young people, their jobs are going to be technology related. And a lot of those jobs you can do remotely. I believe that bringing in things within our community that not only establish a relationship between the community and our children, but also our older community and our younger community is necessary. We have people who want to pass on their knowledge, who want to reach out, and they don't know how. Providing those opportunities for both our youth and, our older generations, it's essential. All of our younger generation right now, you've seen it in the news, it's pure upheaval. If we can ground them, if we can give them the education that we had growing up, we're going to have a different community. They're going to want to stay. It's going to be a better community, too.
Thank you. Ms. Lattery, same question. How will you get young people in the community involved and ensure that they return following post-secondary education?
Quality jobs, quality housing, with good paying wages. Also with the technology that they have, as Sierra said, a lot of people can work from home. And so being able to bring in, I can't remember what it's called, I think it's broadband or, I think it's broadband into our community that gives them even better access to working from home is very, very important. But the housing and the business and the jobs, the type of jobs that these young people are looking for is very, very important.
Thank you. We'll finish with Mr. Ferrari. How will you get young people involved in the community and ensure that they return following post-secondary education?
Well, directly, I don't think this is a place for city council. The mandate given to the city government is to maintain infrastructure and maintain order, okay? Indirectly, we need to support our Chamber of Commerce. They've done a great job. They got a ton of energy there, okay? Those are the people that can help bring businesses to town and create a better environment. And they're doing such a great job. And Brielle, I believe the Chamber on their website is doing a lot to have detour routes available on their website coming up, correct? Yeah. So, I mean, there is the information out there. We need to support the Chamber a lot more. They'll do the job. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's going to conclude the questions for our mayor candidates. We're each going to get 1 minute for a closing statement, and we are going to start on the far end. Candidate D, Sierra McLean, you got 1 minute for your closing statement.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I know it's a lot to come out, especially in the COVID world. I would ask that you vote for me for mayor. I know that the other three candidates sitting up here with me have previously been on the board before. And I know that they have not been reelected. That makes me wonder why. They're all very good people, but if they're not being reelected, that means that this city is looking for something else, and I believe I am that something else. So I'm asking you to put your faith in me and to vote for me.
Thank you. Move to Ms. Lattery. 1 minute for a closing statement, please.
Okay, I was elected twice to the office, 2013 through 2016. During my time, I was able to reduce the budget in 2015 to 0% levy increase to, when we set the budget in 2016 for the 2017 levy, we reduced the levy by 4.2%. That had not been done in a long time. And that was by good governance of us asking the departments to reduce their budget by 2% every year. And I believe that I am not ashamed of my 2 terms in office. I always put the city first. I ask for your vote and your confidence. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ferrari, 1 minute closing statement.
Just responding to Sierra's comment. I never ran for reelection.
You were put in, right?
Yeah, I was voted in. I never ran for reelection. Anyway, like I said, I'm interested in trying to help out, do what I can. I can see some real challenges coming at us, and I'm confident we can get through it. Might not be pretty, but we'll do the best we can. I thank you, and I thank the Chamber and the League of Women's.
Thank you. Finish with Mr. Hunter. 1 minute for your closing statement, please.
Well, first of all, I want to say that we live in a very diverse community, and we have a lot of good ideas, and I believe that we need strong leadership. I've never been a quitter. I've always looked at things and took the best, looked at the most important thing that we had to do and went and got it done. But you can't do it alone. You need the community to work with you. And I want the community to be united, not problems back and forth between everybody. Everybody has an opinion, and I think they should be allowed to express that. If you have the same feelings that I do, and you want somebody that's going to earn their money, then please vote for me.
Thank you very much. Well, that's going to conclude our forum for the mayor candidates for Crosby. I'd like everybody to give them a nice hand. Remember to vote. Election day is Tuesday, November 3rd. Early voting begins Friday, September 18th. You can please go to Vote 411 for accurate information regarding your voter registration and what's on the ballot and absentee voting. And again, I just want to thank all of you and good luck. Thank you for your time tonight, and you're welcome to stick around. We're going to take about a 5-6 minute break, and then we're going to get right in with our city council candidates. So if everybody wants to stand up and stretch, they can do that right now, but we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. Again, thank you guys very much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Tom.
let's get started. I think pretty much the rules are the same in everybody. I don't think we have anybody that's new here. And I'm not sure if I introduced myself before the last one, but I am Tom Martin, General Manager, R&J Broadcasting, and this is a big interest to me. My grandparents and parents, all from Crosby and the Emily area. I've been living here for 21 years, and for 19 of it, been the voice of the Rangers. So this is both the mayor and the city council. Means a lot to me to listen to what you guys got to say, and I hope everybody else feels the same way. And again, we thank you for your time tonight. And we'll go down the line here and introduce each one of them. Candidate A, we'll start over here. This is Don Keith. Don, call you Big Daddy?
You can call me Big Daddy.
All right. Appreciate that.
That came from a store I owned here in Crosby, Big Daddy's Deals.
All right. Candidate B is Jim Traylor. Candidate C is Mr. Paul Hedlund. And candidate D is Sean Jarvala. Thank you guys again for your time and coming out tonight. You're each going to get 2 minutes for a opening statement. And then as we ask the questions, you got 90 seconds each, and then we'll finish with a 1-minute closing statement. The timekeepers are right in front of us here. When you get down to 30 seconds left, they'll hold up a card in 15 seconds. And we got to stop you when it says stop, okay? So try to keep your eyes on that when you getting close to finishing your thought. So we are going to start, actually. My list says we start with candidate D. You get a 2-minute opening statement, so we'll start with Mr. Jarvala. Go ahead, sir. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sean. My family has been a part of this community for generations. I was born and raised in Crosby for 31 years. I graduated from Crosby Arrington Schools. I'm a father and a family man. I drive school bus and sports activities in town for the last 7 years. I've been a lawn care technician for 6 years, and I'm also a member of the Crosby Fire Department for 8 years. And I am a huge supporter of all of our emergency personnel and responders. And also, for 4 years, I volunteered at the Coyote Range Youth Center. And with that, I also play the drums at 2 of our local churches. That being said, I am a true Maroon Ranger. I have enormous pride in our town. I've been frustrated with the negative comments of some in our community. As an independent thinker, I'd like to bring an open mind and willing attitude to do all I can to improve the impression of our community in the greater Cuyuna Range area. As a council member, I would like to bring to the table a care for residents and listening ear to what their problems and concerns are. I would like to see every storefront filled, which would entail having a business-friendly attitude. I am invested in Crosby, and I care about her future. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll jump over here to candidate A, Mr. Keith. 2 minutes, opening statement, please.
Hi, my name is Don Keith, alias Big Daddy. I grew up in Coon Rapids. I lived there for 45 years. I worked for Honeywell, ran their mainframe computers for the business worldwide for 28 years. Took an early retirement from them, moved up to Aiken, Minnesota, where my ex-wife was born. I worked for Woodland Container for 8 years. Worked for a group home for 12 years, and I'm now driving for Arrowhead Transit, taking people to doctor appointments and wherever they gotta go. Basically working for insurance companies, I guess. I lived in Aiken for 10 years. I've lived in Crosby for 11. I enjoy it over here. I bought a home I live on 2nd Avenue. have a son and a daughter. And what I'd like to see in Crosby is just more growth. I'd like to see some, I don't know, shops where you maybe can buy stuff other than food, antiques. It'd be nice to maybe get some shops in for clothing of some sort. And I just did this just to help to improve the community. Work with the council. You know, we can't do it. Nobody can do it by themselves. You got to work together. And I think with the 5-team member, we could get something done here. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate B, Mr. Trailer. 2 minutes, please.
I'm Jim Trailer. I've lived in the Crosby area now for probably about 35 years, and I've been a taxpayer and property owner for 30 years. Currently serving on the Crosby City Council. Proud of what we've been accomplishing over the last 4 years, 3.5 years. My goal is just to make Crosby a great place to live, work, and play, and I think we can do this through economic development and helping our neighbors downtown and our people within the community, pulling people together through events. I think just the general economic development is what you need to drive your community, and that's what we have now, and it's growing. Excuse me, it's growing, and I would like to see that continue. That's all.
Thank you. Yeah, if you guys could please just get kind of close to the mics so I can hear you, but we got to make sure the audience can. We'll go to candidate C, Mr. Hagelin. 2 minutes opening statement.
Paul Hagelin, City of Crosby. I worked for the city for 41 years for the street department. I was union steward the better part of that time. I know a lot of the operations that go on in the city of Crosby, and I'd like to help on some of that. I think we've got to tweak some of the stuff that's been going on the last couple of years as far as snow plowing and snow hauling and sidewalk. And I just think that's very important. I'm going to work for all the taxpayers of Crosby. Anytime they want to call me, they're welcome to call me. And I'm certainly doing the best I can on the city council. I served 4 years in 15, 16, 17, 18. And I'm looking forward to serving again. Thank you.
Thank you. I should mention, like the mayor candidates up here, if the audience wants to submit a question, get it over to the women at the table over here. They will screen it and get it to me, so you are able to ask some questions. These questions may sound similar to the ones if you were here for the mayor forum. A lot of them are kind of overlap, okay? But your opportunity to answer them. We are going to start with candidate A right down here. Mr. Keith, you'll be the first one. You have 90 seconds now for each of these questions. What steps do you plan to ensure transparency in city government?
Well, I'd like to see everybody work together. We need to work together to get anything done, and I think that's the biggest part of it. I think there's been a lot of division in the past, and not only in the council, but the police department and fire department, everything. I just think my big thing is to work as a team. Let's get the job done. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Trailer, same question. What steps do you plan to ensure transparency in city government?
I think just being open and communicating with the public when they come to city meetings, and via whether that's on Zoom or any other means, which we've had many Zoom meetings in the past years over the COVID. We can televise the meetings if that works out, you know, to where more people have access to them. That would be a great input for that at the same time. That's it.
Thank you. Move over to Mr. Hegland. Same question. What steps do you plan to ensure transparency in city government?
Well, I think the first thing is we gotta work with all the taxpayers in the city of Crosby, and if they got problems, listen to them. And, number two, I think the Chamber of Commerce is doing a great job, and just like Mr. Ferrari said, turn it over to them. They're doing a fantastic job, and they will do a good job. And last, teamwork is the most important. I've been a sports nut forever, and there's one thing that makes things go, and that's teamwork. And if you don't have teamwork, you're not going to get very far. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Same question to Mr. Jarvala. What steps do you plan to ensure transparency in city government?
Well, a big thing, I think, if we work together, sometimes our neighboring cities, or you hear things that they have grudges over things. I think if we just all open-minded, we work together, come together, it'd be a lot better. That's it.
Thank you. Next question, we'll start with candidate B. That'll be Mr. Trailer. What are your plans for the police department? And if you want to throw the fire department in there too, but I think a lot of people are interested in our local police department. So for all of you, what are your plans for the police department? Mr. Trailer, 90 seconds.
Well, number one, I think the current police department we have is doing a fantastic job, and we meet with them on a regular basis in the council meetings. We know how the department's functioning, where they're building at. We support the use of their police dog for drugs, and which, by the way, just had a fantastic recovery in the last couple of weeks. But I have no immediate plans. I would like it someday to see the police departments, maybe the fire departments combined, but I don't think that will ever take place until the state government mandates it. Because we've tried for years to pull people together and haven't been able to. So kudos to whoever does. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you. Mr. Hegland, same question. What are your plans for the police department?
All I got to say about our police department is they do a heck of a job, and they're laying their lives out on the line every day, and they got families, they got kids, and they're doing an excellent job, and they don't get enough credit. And I wish the people would speak up to them, because they're doing a good job. I know most of them guys personally, and they've got a lot of dedication for Crosby, and that's a big thing. So that's all I got to say. And as far as the fire department goes, that's a very good department also. Thank you.
Thank you. Move over to Mr. Jarvala, 90 seconds on that same topic, same question. What are your plans for the police department?
I think the police department has came a long ways, especially under new directing from the chief. They protect our city pretty well, seeing them around, doing certain things, being a part of the community, getting out, being involved with kids. I think they have a lot for our future, being better and growing.
Thank you. Candidate A, Mr. Keith, same question. What are your plans for the police department?
Well, I'd like to see, one thing I did notice since Andy's taken over is he does do some foot duty through town. No squad car. I've seen him checking doors, business doors. I think they do a very good job, but I think the one thing I would like to see is I'd like to see some of the ordinance ordinances that we have in town, some of those enforced a little better, as far as keeping the town clean and that type of thing. Or we need to have I don't know, I think there's a lot of people that have stuff they'd like to get rid of, and they just probably don't have the capability or the money maybe to get rid of it. And if we had like a cleanup or a clean day where everybody in the community could pitch in and help and clean things up in the alleys and just generals. Sometimes people, they rake their yards and can't even afford to have the leaves hauled away. And if we could just all get together, maybe even once a fall, once a spring, and do something like that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question, we'll start with Mr. Hagelin. Question 3, what do you see as the role of the city council? And that would be you as part of the city council. So what do you see as your role and the role of the rest of the city council?
Well, I think the city council has to step up to the plate when we have problems, discuss it. The problem is with the city council, you've got people that don't want to step up to the plate. They lay in the background waiting for this guy. I think we got to step up to the plate. If we got a problem, let's sit down and figure it out. So that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to Mr. Jarvila, same question. What do you see as the role of the city council and as you as part of the city council?
I think if we just work together with the mayor and the council, be open-minded, we could get a little further than we are. We have a great community, and if we work together and we communicate, it's a big thing. I think we have a good thing to come.
Thank you. Same question to Mr. Keith. What do you see as the role of the city council and as your role as being on the city council?
Well, I think it's for me to get out and talk to the community, which I do that now and I don't. I mean, I'm a communicator and I don't have a problem talking to people, so I like to get out and get their viewpoints and bring them back to the council. And if there's something we can do for people in the community, we'll be able to do it. But if we don't know about it, and a lot of people are hesitant to call or that type of thing. So I don't know. I know a ton of people in town, basically from my business, I guess. But that's what I'd like to see.
Thank you. Mr. Trailer, we'll finish up with you. Same question. What do you see as the role of the city council and your part of the city council?
Great. Well, primarily I was voted in by the citizens of Crosby, and I try to represent them as fair and equal as possible. I like to get out and find out what their issues are, bring that back to the council, and make decisions on it. Our other primary function is setting policy. We can't really get out and direct people where to go and what to do within the city government, but we have to establish it through policy, so it is a slow process, but it works well. So I have no others.
Thank you. Next question, we will start with candidate D, Mr. Jarvila. What would you like the city to accomplish in the next 2 years?
I think keeping our storefronts filled and being a little easier on taxes with them, and also just working together, being a team and growing, and the business is growing, and tourism and everything. So
Thank you. We'll go to candidate A, Mr. Keith. What would you like the city to accomplish in the next 2 years?
I think in the next 2 years, especially with this construction we've got that's gonna come through town, I think I don't think that's gonna take a very long time, but I think it's gonna be tough on everybody, and, I think we just have to be optimistic. I'd like to see, they're starting to improve some of the roads and the streets in town. I'd like to see that continue. Some of the roads are just, they're, I don't know, they're terrible. I mean, if you drive a pickup at all, anybody that drives a pickup and drives through these towns, through this town, even through Deerwood, coming from 6 into town, it's just boom, 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 boom. I'd like to see a lot of maintenance be done. Just general maintenance, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Trailer, same question. What would you like the city to accomplish in the next 2 years?
Well, I think the biggest hurdle we get over is our 210 project, and then we move forward with economic development, get some of these shop storefronts filled. It's just, it's something we haven't been lacking on, but we can improve on. I think the city council will do well, working together, and that's a really, really tough issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Go to move to Mr. Hegland. Finish up this question. What would you like the city to accomplish in the next 2 years?
Well, like Mr. Critter said, I think construction is number one. We got to step up to the plate. If any business owners need a little help doing this or doing that, we should step forward to help them along, because this is going to be, it's going to be a crisis for them for a little bit. But we just got to step up to the plate and help them if all possible. And as far as the streets go, they started doing some streets. They did 2nd Avenue, they did 3rd Avenue, they did 8th Street, and down by the school, and that's the big start. That was a big improvement. So I'd like to keep going from there, a couple a year, 3 years, or whatever. And sidewalks, I would like to have something done with the sidewalks a little bit. A lot of people walk during the winter time, and they cannot walk on the sidewalks. I've had numerous calls, people trying to go for a walk, and they cannot walk on the sidewalk. I think we gotta do a better job keeping them clean in the winter time so they can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the next question relates a lot to what we just talked about with construction. So we are going to start with Mr. Keith, and the question is, how do you plan to support the businesses and the residents during the upcoming construction project?
Boy, that's a tough question. We really have to help the businesses as far as getting a rear entrance, I think, and one that's passable for our older people in town, and also handicaps that aren't getting around, that can't get around. They're used to having that sidewalk and that front door, and we may have to make some ramps. We may have to really pitch in and help the businesses, really give them a hand, because I think it's going to be tough for those people. And it'll be tough for everybody. The parking, and we got to park somewhere. Plus, we'll have in the spring. We'll have the bikers. So I think we all need to. We're going to really have to work together and accommodate all that. Thank you.
Thank you. To Mr. Trailer, same question. How do you plan to support the businesses and residents during the upcoming road construction project?
I think the best thing the city can do is give the people, the businesses, the information they need to apply for grants if they're available. We'll work with them to sustain any grants that are there, but we've had the grants in the past, and some of them just passed on it because it was too much. We leave it up to each individual business if they want to fix their property up or not on the backside and provide a walkthrough, because that's real. There's a lot more involved just in saying you're going to open it up. There's all kinds of regulations to go through. The project is not going to be as extreme as it was before. We're not burying lines in the ground. They're not going to be digging the street down 6.5 feet like they did before. They're going to be removing tar, taking out sidewalks, replacing sidewalks, and putting the tar back. So I think it'll be a less of an impact this year on a typical what everybody's thinking. That's what we're being told.
Thank you. Mr. Hagelin, same question. How do you plan to support the businesses and residents during the upcoming road construction project?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, like everybody's been talking, we gotta help them out, whatever they need. I mean, if they got problems, we gotta step up and help them, because it's gonna be a big project. And if they got problems, we gotta help them. And as far as that goes, I think the chamber will step up to the plate, because they always have stepped up to the plate and helped things along, because they do a fantastic job. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll finish this question with Mr. Jarvila. How do you plan to support the businesses and residents during the upcoming road construction project?
Well, they're going to be, as far as I know, they're going to be doing the road in sections, and we'll just have to adjust things so we can support our businesses so they can keep money coming in. And for the residents, we'll have to, I think we have to keep them informed with things, how to reroute things, how to work things out.
Thank you. Next question, we will start with Mr. Trailer on this one. What would you do differently as a council person for our city? And I believe you're the incumbent.
I personally, I'm not going to do anything different. I think we do a good job. We have a lot of open communication, a lot of good discussion, and a lot of workshops. Right now, we're heavily into the budget, and the LGA factor will play in. However, they have been going to reduce that for years, so all we can do is hope. If that comes through, then we'll have to make some departmental cuts, et cetera, but because that is money that would go directly to the taxpayers, and we're about maxed out right now on our tax base. So I'm not doing anything any different.
Thank you. Mr. Hagelin, same question. What would you do differently as a council person for our city?
Well, number one, we're working for every taxpayer here in Crosby. So if they have a problem, listen to them and try to help them out with it. And ask if there's something to be done, let's do it. And if we have to step up to the plate, like I mentioned before, I'm willing to step up to the plate. I've been on the council before, and I've seen it with my own eyes that people do not want to step up. They want to lay in the weeds. So, step up and help the people, that's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jarvila, same question. What would you do differently as a council person for our city?
I think, like I said before, communication is a big thing. To be there for everybody that needs us. That's it.
Thank you. We'll finish this question with Mr. Keith. What would you do differently as a council person for our city?
Well, this is a new thing for me. I've never really been involved in any of this, so it's going to be a learning. I'm going to have a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm going to depend on my mayor and current council members to help me catch up on some of this stuff. But I guess you know, help the community as much as possible, and basically, you know, try to work as a team. But we got to work as a team. We can't have 5 people and work as 2 different teams. Everybody's got to get on the same thing here. That's all I have really.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions from the audience? We'll probably go to some of the same questions that we asked the mayor candidates. We will start with Mr. Hegland on this one. What is your vision for possible shared services with surrounding Cuyuna Range cities?
Well, I think it's in the near future. I think we all know that we're gonna have to combine a little bit, but, that's gonna be a big problem because everybody wants to stay with their own unit. But money-wise, I think we're gonna have to sit down and probably talk to them people and try to work something out for the best, because it comes down to dollars and cents. And if we can save some money, we better save some money. Thank you.
Thank you. Go to Mr. Jarvila. Same question. What is your vision for possible shared services with surrounding Cuyuna Range cities?
I think if us and the surrounding cities come together, it would open a lot of possibilities and potentials. I just think that'd be a great idea.
Thank you. Mr. Keith, same question. What is your vision for possible shared services with surrounding Cuyuna Range cities?
Well, I think it's going to be needed as far as the dollars go. It's not an easy thing. I worked for Honeywell, like I said, for many years. We did a lot of cutbacks, and it involves people losing jobs. I mean, you're not going to no longer need every fireman from Crosby, Ironton, and Deerwood to do the job. So it's painful, and it's not easy. It's a big job, I think. I've been through it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Traylor, what is your vision for possible shared services with surrounding Cuyuna Range cities?
Well, I think in a perfect world, we would form a district similar to our sanitary sewer district, where all the towns combined pay into it. We have mentioned that in the past. It hasn't flown, but I think that would work for both police and fire. It would be a little more costly in the short term because you have to build new buildings somewhere in a neutral site. But on the long term, it would be a much better, less expensive. So I think once it's mandated, that's what will happen, and it'll go that direction. And I expect that to happen probably within the next 6 years.
Thank you. We got a couple other questions here, and I think they're pretty good. I think the COVID crisis is still going on, so this one relates to that. And we are starting Mr. Jarvila on this one. What role, if any, should the city play in helping local businesses and individuals recover from the COVID crisis?
Well, I think if there's some money to help the businesses out, the ones that are hurting pretty bad, and just everybody. Everybody's suffering during this hard time one way or another. So I think we really gotta care about our businesses because we don't need them closing down, and it's tough to start back up. And so I'm a big supporter in our businesses.
Thank you. We'll go to Mr. Keith. Same question. What role, if any, should the city play in helping local businesses and individuals recover from the COVID crisis?
Well, again, I think it's, we've got to work tightly together, and I don't think we really, as you see on TV even, I don't think they really, I don't know how many people really understand this COVID thing. We don't know where it's, do we know where it came from? Do we know where it's going? We're trying one thing right now, and I don't know, we don't know if that's working well or not, because we've never had to go through something like this before. So I guess basically I said that we got to stick together and work as a team on all this stuff.
Thank you. Mr. Trailer, same question to you. What role, if any, should the city play in helping local businesses and individuals recover from the COVID crisis?
Well, as far as businesses and nonprofit organizations, I can update you on what the city's doing right now. The city received $177,000 from the state, and we're retaining $77,000 of that at the state, and we're forwarding $100,000 to Crow Wing County, which will be allocated back to any small business in Crow Wing County in grants up to $10,000 each. As far as the general individual, there's a lot of information on our websites that they can link to get more additional COVID information through the state. We work through the church to help people that's having problems. The city does not work, through that way, but that's something that could be brought into the picture also. And we do put information on the website when the churches are doing food drives and food shelves. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Hagelin, finish up the question with you, sir. What role, if any, should the city play in helping local businesses and individuals recover from the COVID crisis?
Well, I think we're all suffering from this, as we all know. And hopefully we're going to get through it. It's going to take some time, but I think we're going to get through it. But we just got to listen to what they're telling us as far as masking up and doing what we're supposed to do. And if we have some elderly people in town, and maybe help them out a little bit, maybe take them to the grocery store, or go get groceries for them, or take them to the gas station, or just help them out a little bit, because I think the older people are really, they're scared. Let's face it. And if we can step up to the plate and help some of these people out, help them out, that's a good thing for me. Thank you.
Thank you. I know we're getting close to time being up. I got a couple more questions here. We have no further questions from the audience right now. So these are some some really good questions, and we are going to start with Mr. Keith on this one. What are your thoughts about local parks, trails, recreational amenities, and what are your goals in this area?
Well, I think this whole thing is coming along better than probably a lot of us thought it would. I don't know, we're adding to taxes. My concern is the maintenance of this. I mean, they're talking 25 years, and, I mean, are we gonna just continue to just raise taxes to pay for this, or are the bikers in some way gonna help pitch in on this? I mean, we pay for four-wheelers, we pay for boats, we pay for snowmobiles, we pay for all that stuff, but we don't charge anything for the bikers at all. I mean, I think it'd be fair if they pitched in a little somewhere along the line. I don't know how you would do it. I don't have that answer, but, they found a way to do it for everything else, I guess. So, that's how I feel on it. I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean, it's bringing business into the community and stuff. But I think, the maintenance is gonna be a big bill eventually.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Trailer, same question. What are your thoughts about local parks, trails, and recreational amenities, and what are your goals in this area?
I think they're great assets for our community, and I think we should participate in whatever we can do to increase our parks, our trail systems. It links people together, and right now people are really using them. Gives them somewhere to exercise, and it's good for the school kids. Kids come in from everywhere to play in our park in the city of Crosby. I think we should maintain them, keep them up. That's all I got.
Thank you. Mr. Haglund, same question. What are your thoughts about local parks, trails, and recreational amenities, and what are your goals in this area?
Well, I think the parks are very good. People look forward to coming on the weekends or whatever to spend time in the parks and in the playground. And we got one of the nicest parks around right here. And as far as the trails go, I cannot believe the way them trails are being used. I go on the trail 5 times a week myself in the summertime, just walking. And there's people after people after people riding bikes, walking, rollerblades, and they bring a lot of money into Crosby. I mean, the weekends, you can't find a place to park down at the Pennington Pit. I mean, there's that many people. They're parked on the streets all over. So, I mean, this is a booming area. And I haven't seen Crosby this good since the Scorpion days myself. And I've lived here all my life. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jarvila, same question. What are your thoughts about local parks, trails, and recreational amenities, and what are your goals in this area?
This town has came a long ways, especially building trails, expanding. Brings a lot of business into our town, and that helps us grow even more. The parks are wonderful. Also brings a lot of people in, families, kids, so on. Goals, I think we have a lot of potential in this town. It's just getting bigger, and then recreational, we have a lot of good area around here for recreational, for camping, and everything else, so that's it.
Thank you. Time for one more? No, we're getting kind of close here. One more?
Pretty
Okay.
close, Tom.
Pardon me?
We're pretty close.
Okay. Are you guys ready for
Good input, Paul.
closing statements? Okay. That's the word right there, okay? So you're each going to have 1 minute for closing statements. And let's see, we started last down here with Mr. Keys, so we'll start with Mr. Trailer for closing statements. 60 seconds, sir.
Yep, I would just like to to thank the League of Minnesota Women Voters and the Cayuga Lakes Chamber for putting this event on. It's good communication with the public. And I'd just like to say, as a council member, if I'm reelected, I will keep an open mind. I will listen to all options. I'll make sound decisions to benefit the majority of the taxpayers. And I stand by that statement every council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hagelin, 60 seconds, closing statement.
Can I get 120 seconds or just 60 seconds? What'd you say, a minute or two?
Yeah, 1 minute.
I don't know if I got it, I don't know if I can say it in a minute, but I'll try.
Do your best.
I'm running for city council. I'm asking for votes so I can get in, and I will do everything for every taxpayer in Crosby that I can. And I think we got so many things going in Crosby. I love Crosby. We got a beautiful hospital, one of the best around. We got a fire department. We got a police department there that is unbelievable. And I cannot give them enough credit. Thank you.
You still had 15 seconds.
Yeah,
But we'll go over to Mr. Jarvala. 60 seconds, closing statement.
All right, I don't bring any political experience or bias to this position, but I promise that I will strive to help make good decisions for Crosby. I'm responsible and reliable, and I will make meetings a priority. I will bring to the table a care for both residents and business owners. And it's not easy being up here answering questions, being your first time. It can be a little nerve-wracking, but I'm going to do my best, and everything is a learning curve. And vote for me, everything will be good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Keith.
Yes, I'm gonna agree with Mr. Jarvis down there. This is a little nerve-wracking for when you're not used to speaking in front of people very often, but I wanna do whatever I can, working with the council and for all the taxpayers in Crosby, and keep it a bright community. And I want to thank the chamber, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, I want to thank all the candidates for your time here tonight. At this time, I wish everybody to give them a round of applause for coming and answering questions tonight. Thank you very much. We want to also thank our sponsors, the Cayuga Lakes Chamber of Commerce, the League of Women Voters, all the volunteers from the American Association of University Women. A big round of applause to the crew here from Central Lakes College. Boy, last night and tonight, we can't thank them enough for the job these guys have done. Really good. Thank you. You can find more candidate information maybe outside here. They will be available if you want to stop them quick and ask them a question. We want to remind everybody, vote on Election Day, Tuesday, November 3rd. Early voting begins this Friday, September 18th. You can go to Vote 411 for accurate information regarding your voter registration, what's on your ballot, and absentee voting. Again, thank you for coming tonight. Do want to add this. The League of Women's Voters is a trusted, nonpartisan political organization. It's been active in Minnesota now for 100 years. If you would like to join the League, you can have a great impact on local, state, and national issues. Membership open to both men and women. And again, we want to thank the Chamber of Commerce, a 501c6 business nonprofit. You can support the Chamber at its upcoming fundraiser event on October 8th. That'll be at the Trailside Bar, grand opening kind of. So learn more. at cuyunalakes.com, and this will be available to watch back up until Election Day. And again, I personally want to thank all you guys for your time tonight. You've been really good. Good luck to all of you on Election Day. Take care.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Good job.
That'll conclude tonight. Again, thanks our audience for coming tonight too.